I never expected my passion for investigating the paranormal would lead me to the decaying Victorian mansion known as the Poltergeist House. Its ominous presence loomed over the town, casting a shadow that seemed to chill the very air around it. I was intrigued and terrified in equal measures as I embarked on this journey. As I stepped through the creaking front door, a gust of cold wind swept past me, carrying whispers that seemed to emanate from the walls themselves. The air was heavy with an eerie energy, making the hairs on my arms stand on end. I could sense that something malevolent lurked within these walls. Equipped with my array of investigative tools, I ventured deeper into the mansion. The air grew even colder, and the dim light cast unsettling shadows across the ornate wallpaper. My heart raced as a sudden crash echoed through the hallway, and a shattered vase lay in pieces at my feet. I could feel a chilling presence watching my every move. I entered what appeared to be a parlor, and as I set up my equipment, a chilling gust of wind extinguished the candles in one swift motion. My flashlight flickered, casting eerie glimmers across the room. I swallowed my fear and addressed the unseen entity, asking it to reveal its presence. In response, the room seemed to vibrate, and a painting on the wall trembled before falling to the ground with a resounding thud. The tension in the room grew as an otherworldly force seemed to wrap around me. I could sense its anger and resentment, as if it were reliving the torment that had driven it to haunt these halls. Objects began to move on their own. A chair toppled over, books flew off shelves, and the air crackled with energy. As the night progressed, the activity intensified. Phantom footsteps echoed through the corridors, and disembodied voices murmured in the darkness. I had to confront the truth. This was no ordinary haunting. The spirit within these walls was not just a lost soul. It was a poltergeist fueled by a deep-seated anger, a force that sought to lash out at the living. With my heart pounding, I resolved to communicate with the spirit directly. I asked the entity to give me a sign of its presence, and the room seemed to explode with activity. Objects flew across the room, swirling in a chaotic dance. The air grew suffocatingly cold, and a voice, a guttural, otherworldly voice, whispered directly into my ear, sending shivers down my spine. But then, the atmosphere shifted. The room grew still, and an eerie silence settled in. In the corner, a faint, flickering light emerged, revealing the apparition of a woman. Her eyes bore into mine, cold, red, and angry. I really fainted when I saw closely her. Her eyeballs were like a cat, elongated one, not round. At that moment, I understood. The poltergeist was not just a malevolent force. It was a tormented soul, driven to madness by a tragedy that had unfolded within these very walls. As I gazed into the spirit's eyes, a surge of empathy overcame my fear. I realized that this was a soul crying out for release, for a chance to find peace. With a deep breath, I spoke softly, offering my help to uncover the truth behind the tragedy that had bound her to this house. The room trembled, and the spirit's form wavered before fading away, leaving an echo of its presence. In that moment, I knew I had embarked on a journey that would lead me not only into the heart of a chilling mystery, but also into the depths of my own courage. The Poltergeist House held secrets that were more than mere spectral spectacles. It held the key to setting a tormented soul free. And I was determined to uncover those secrets, no matter the cost. In the days that followed, my investigation into the Poltergeist House intensified. I delved into historical records, poring over faded documents and yellowing newspaper clippings. The truth slowly emerged, revealing a tragic tale that had remained hidden for generations. The mansion had once been the home of the wealthy Hartfield family. In the late 1800s, tragedy struck when their youngest daughter, Eleanor, fell in love with a man from a lower social class. The Hartfields vehemently opposed the relationship, forcing Eleanor to choose between her love and her family's approval. Eleanor's defiance led to a heart-wrenching confrontation. On a stormy night, as rain lashed against the windows, a violent argument erupted within the mansion's walls. The situation escalated, resulting in a fatal accident that claimed Eleanor's life. The details had been covered up, but the pain and anger that had consumed Eleanor in her final moments had left an indelible mark on the house. Armed with this newfound knowledge, I returned to the Poltergeist House, determined to confront the tormented spirit and offer her the closure she so desperately needed. The atmosphere was charged with anticipation as I entered the parlor once more, carrying holy water, sage, candles, and my book that carried readings for dispelling the negative energies. With the book in hand and candles burning around me, I started reading some verses that help invite a spirit to the scene. I could feel the air was very heavy and there was some bad smell in my surrounding. I heard the footsteps, which with every second felt been getting closer and closer. There was mist everywhere, and then it disappeared, only finding out that raged spirit is standing right in front of me, directly staring into my eyes. This time, she was covered in blood. Her scary eyes were looking directly in mine. "Leave me alone. Don't you love your life?" she whispered. I sprinkled holy water on her. She screamed in pain, which could be heard in whole mansion. "In the name of God and Jesus Christ, I command you to return to the world where you belong to," I read. This time she was screaming and crying, as somebody not willing to leave the place. I expressed my understanding of her pain and offered her the opportunity to find solace in the afterlife. As I spoke, the air seemed to soften, and the temperature in the room began to rise. Then, a faint shimmering light materialized before me. It grew brighter and more distinct, forming the figure of a young woman, the image of Eleanor herself. Her eyes, once filled with sorrow and anger, now radiated with a mixture of gratitude and longing. The atmosphere shifted, and the room seemed to resonate with a newfound tranquility. Eleanor's figure slowly faded away, leaving behind a sense of peace that permeated the very walls of the mansion. I burnt the sage and blessed the mansion in the final step. I also blessed the tormented spirit, wishing her a best afterlife. As I stepped out of the Poltergeist House, I knew that I had accomplished something beyond mere investigation. I had helped a tormented soul find the closure she needed to move on from the pain that had bound her for so long. The mansion, once a place of darkness and malevolence, now stood as a testament to the power of understanding, empathy, and redemption. But as I walked away, I couldn't shake the feeling that Eleanor's story was just the beginning of my journey. There were countless other tales of restless spirits waiting to be heard, mysteries to unravel, and souls to set free. And with each investigation, I would continue to confront the unknown, guided by the knowledge that even in the darkest of places, there is always a glimmer of hope and a chance for resolution.